Suppose this is where I leave you then. I owe you my life, envoy. I won't soon forget what you did. I don't know. It's all just sinking in. I hope the folks at the embassy know where to find a good, strong drink. Well, it's the Living Land's biggest port. People come from all over. Not all of them are Adir's friends.
Wonder why?
You'll be fine. After the fort, I figure you can survive anything. You don't have to. Just go up the pier. I imagine they've sent someone official-like to take you there.
Must be nice, eh?
Same to you. You'll make the Emperor proud. I'm sure of it.
Look, I'll no thank you for showing basic decency. But you saved my life. That counts for something. To me, anyway. Aye, don't push our luck. Try not to get killed. Nah, I'm kidding. Just don't go around acting like you own the place. All right? Hope we don't run into each other. Still, take care of yourself.
Hey! Turn around and sail back to wherever you came from. This dock is reserved for the Imperial Envoy. And she's late. Probably died at sea. Good riddance. What?
Nice.
Forgive me, Envoy. I meant nothing by it. A slip of the tongue. Can we start over? Name's Cynric, captain of the local militia. We're a scrappy bunch, but we know our way around Paradise. Unlike most Adirans who couldn't find their ass with both their hands. Oh, present company excluded. They told me you were godlike, but I didn't know what to expect. Your face, it's so...
You're doing great.
Forgive me, again. We're having a bit of an emergency. No doubt you've come for the Adiran ambassador, but he's gone, along with our claviger. Well, he's the closest thing we have to a local authority. Part keeper of the keys, part bald fist.
Paradise's mayor, more or less. Most people out here aren't fond of established hierarchies and titles. So, we made up some new ones.
No, there's some kind of blight in the wilderness and rumors of plague. They went to investigate. Nature has a mind of its own in these parts. When the ecosystem changes, we ask ourselves how and why.
Leaderless and rudderless is the natural state of things in Paradise anyway. Keeps things interesting.
I'm sorry, Envoy, but no one's here to receive it.
Nonsense. There's a small army of pickpockets, smugglers, and scoundrels between those walls who'd be happy to take it off your hands.
Just ignore him.
Where did you say they went? Because I've got an idea.
They traveled northwest to the Strangle Route, past the old Pargroon Wall.
You need to find the ambassador, and I need to find the claviger. How's about we partner up? Name's Kai. I've been a soldier, a sailor, and a halfway decent baritone.
He's a troublemaker, but a damn qualified one at least.
I knew you had a soft spot for me. Claviger Amond helped me get on my feet when I came to Paradise a few years ago. Last time we spoke, he sounded worried about things. If he's gotten himself into trouble, I owe it to him to help out. If there's one thing you can say about Rawatayans, we're no backstabbers. We handle our disagreements face to face, with lots of yelling and violence. You'll vouch for me, right, Captain?
Better to have him and not need him, I guess.
That's the nicest thing you've said about me all day.
Kai, before you go, the envoy is of noble blood and might be out of place in the wilderness. Make sure she comes back alive, or the steel garrote will have my head.
Better yours than mine.
The steel garrote are here as guests, helping Adirans like yourself keep the peace. Or so they say.
That's certainly what they'd like you to believe. Sounds like their reputation back home in Adir isn't any better than it is here.
They're an order of religious cutthroats, sharpening their blades for the glory of the burned queen. Oof, creepy bunch, too. Who needs enemies when you have friends like the steel garrote? You tell me, envoy. The Adirans came to our shores with their soldiers, their bureaucrats, and their cult of murderers. Asking a lot of nosy questions is a good way to end up with a knife in your back. Speaking of the steel garrote, fair warning, their leader, Inquisitor Ludwine, is eager to greet you. Or possibly interrogate you. I heard she's a monster, the personal handmaiden of the burned queen. But that's not all. They say she fell in battle in the Deadfire, and death spat her back out. That's none of my business, and let's keep it that way.
We'll have time to worry about Ludwine later. First, we've got to find your ambassador and my claviger.
I can't believe how rude everyone is around here. How hard could it be to find a watcher? I have a little money, if that's what you mean. I assumed I'd have to pay the watcher, though. I have a strange problem, you see. I'm clearly under some kind of curse. A band of Zorips invaded my house. What am I gonna do? Why did they do anything? They've probably eaten all my food and destroyed my supplies. I don't know what else. First, my ship gets attacked by pirates. Then none of my plants will take. Now this happens? And they won't let me into Paradise to sort it out? The militia. They're scared of some plague. At least that's what they say. I wonder if it's really the Adirans. Keep us out and themselves in. I should never have come here.
Come here for a better life and find a worse one. Wish I hadn't heard that before.
It's hard to put it into words. I just feel like I should be here. I'd heard it was dangerous, but the Glenfathan wilds were dangerous. I thought I was prepared. I had no idea what I was in for. I wanted to grow a little food, save some skates. They never thrived, that's all. Clearly, I have bigger things to worry about. Gods, is it in the crops? As if things couldn't get any worse. Then take my house key. It's northwest of here. That cabin on the cliff all by itself. Gods know I can't go back. And there's nothing to steal either. The Zorips saw to that. Come back when you've dealt with them. And make sure you get their leader, too. I'm sorry, but I don't think they'll go quietly. You'll have to kill them. Thank you. That may not be worth much coming from a stranger, but I mean it.
This is the Hangen's place. Or was. It's the Zarub's now.
Be safe!
Nice! Anything juicy? Maybe it has something to do with that wall painting in the other room. Let's check it out. I'm no art critic, but I've never seen a mural like that. Looks like an elf and Zarup holding hands. What do you see? Why don't we ask Hangen about it? It's her house. She ought to know something.
Oh, please tell me I can go home now. You read my journal? That's private. Why would you do a thing like that? Do you snoop on everyone, you... All right. I lied to you. I can't keep it up anymore. Have you ever felt aimless? Like you ought to have a purpose, but you don't? Like you'd do anything to find out why you're meant to be here? I said the same thing at first. Then I realized I was just lost. An animancer told me that I might have half a soul. I finally had an answer. The question was, who got the other half? I thought if I could meet this person and see what they were like, I might gain some purpose or something. And then I came here and found a Zarup. But what do I do about it? How do I not think about what I can never have? I'm so... I've got to find some meaning in all this. I can't go back and I can't go forward. I'm just stuck here. Lost. Again. Are you serious? I don't call raiding my house diplomatic. If you're positive it doesn't mean me any harm, I'll go. I'll be brave. I'll find it. I really hope you're right. Oh, I forgot. You still deserve to be paid for your time, if nothing else. I didn't think... Well, it's nice to get help from an Adiran. I'll say that much.
You know, for most people, getting sent to the Living Lands is a punishment. But, according to Cynric, you're the personal envoy of the Emperor of Adir himself. Quite a position. Now I've got to wonder what you did to get on his bad side. The Living Lands is a far cry from fancy parties and court events. The Living Lands won't disappoint in that regard. Though I should warn you, you can't rely on charm against a Zorup. And here I thought I'd seen it all. But that brings me to the real question. Why would the Emperor of Adir send a noble all the way to the Living Lands? Oh, that almost does sound like a punishment. I don't know how you investigate a so-called plague of the soul, so better you than me. Being a godlike, I don't suppose your patron deity gives you any unique insights into matters of the soul, do they? I thought every godlike knew their god. That's one of the stranger things I've heard. And out here, that's saying something. Sorry. These are unusual times. I haven't met anyone who's really seen the Dream Scourge yet, but that hasn't stopped people from worrying about the rumors. Refugees are flooding in from outlying regions. The guards are restricting access to the city. And people are making offerings to the gods for everything from hangovers to indigestion, just in case. I like your confidence, just be careful how you express it. Unfortunately, the presence of so many Adiran troops and the rumored exploits of the Steel-Garrote paladins supporting them is only making a tense situation worse. I think that's why the Clavenger accompanied your ambassador. I was in rough shape when I came to Paradise a few years back. Clavenger Amond helped me get settled here. If he's gotten into trouble, the least I can do is help him out of it. Especially if he's following up on rumors of the Dream Scourge. But what about you? What's your stake in things? Besides your orders, of course. Many people do. Most never make it back. Still, you seem more capable than most. I'll let you get some rest, but thanks for talking. It's good to be part of a squad again, even if it's just for a while. It's the gateway to the Living Lands, a scenic port city that's as beautiful and dangerous as the wilds around it. Most visitors enjoy some mariner's porridge at the Ballarrock, a back alley shakedown, and then the sudden return of that porridge out of one end or the other. Then, if they've got any sins, they turn around and take their chances back where they came from, with authentic tales of their adventures in the Living Lands. Don't get me wrong, it's a great city. In part because it's great at winnowing out people who have no business being here. The Living Lands means a hard-won second chance for the people who settle here. But first, you've got to survive it. And the island gives no quarter. For a lot of people, the Living Lands is a last resort. They come fleeing war, debt, famine, the law. Take your pick. For others, it's freedom. To seek glory, to redefine yourself, to live in a way you can't, maybe even on pain of death wherever you come from. Oh, little of everything. Rawatai is famous for storms and rocky soil, so I figured if I'm going to live in a hostile environment, why not pick some place where things grow? It seemed like a good idea at the time. Used to be, if you could last out here, you could count on being left alone. Dangers in the wilds is nothing new out here, but something about the Dream Scourge is. And if that weren't enough, A lot of people aren't too keen on Adir's presence and affiliations out here. Ilgard's new embassy and his alliance with the Steel Garrote smell like the authority and order that a lot of people came here to leave behind. But I don't mean to put that on you. I imagine you're tired of having to answer for every Adiran who sneezes into somebody's stew. They say people afflicted with it have strange, vivid dreams and start confusing them with reality. What starts as a light daze becomes severe disorientation and eventually a bent towards chaotic violence. And then, fungal growths take over your body. So Dream Scourge. No, Dream Scourge is different. It spreads all over. Still, if you see any new mushrooms sprouting up anywhere unexpected, let me know. Until then, look on the bright side. The Living Lands is filled with people and things that are likelier to kill you first. Shoot. That must have been 6 years ago now. I guess I was drifting, looking for a change. A settlement called Thirdborn. It's a rugged little place, lots of Rawatayan expatriates. It really was. Anyway, we were talking about something else, yeah? I joined up with the Rawatayan Navy as soon as I was old enough. I was part of our campaign to establish a foothold in the Deadfire Archipelago. Starting out, it was exciting, purposeful. I believed in our mission. We were returning to our ancestral homeland, reclaiming fertile soil that would feed Rawatai. Additionally, we were helping Deadfire, bringing organization to the pirate-ridden archipelago and civilization to our distant Wana cousins. Yeah, the Huana didn't want us there. We spent almost as much time fighting the tribes as we did pirates and Wilder. And it was hard to see how any of our fighting and dying was feeding people back home. I'd always heard that war was supposed to temper us, strengthen us, but I didn't see that either. Some fell apart. Some bought into the cruelty that our continued presence required. Others didn't buy into it, but went along with it anyway. And that bothered me more somehow. I deserted. And I bounced between different mercenary companies for almost 10 years. Hey, not all of us catch on so quick. Besides, there were only so many options for a Rawatayan deserter with no training and anything else. As a mercenary, I figured I could at least choose my battles and my crew. I ended up here, didn't I? It was more of the same. The only comfort was being part of a squad. By the time I came to the Living Lands, I'd seen enough, had enough. Yeah. Though, in a lot of ways, it feels like I didn't really start living until I got here. Look, if I can give you some hard-won advice, stay on your toes. You're in a difficult position. Whatever your role asks of you, make sure it's something you're willing to give. Because you're the one who has to live with the consequences. Hey, advice is easy. The hard part's all you. What gave it away? My finely pointed teeth, or the striking blue of my scales? Fair enough. My people are known to roam. Rawatai's hardly a hospitable environment. Many of us end up settling elsewhere, or making a living on the go. That's where you get the popular image of the Amawa bodyguard or mercenary. Don't sell me short. I've also been a drifter, a middling carpenter, and a terrible card player. We should play sometime. I'll show you. Then you must have come during our sunny season. Lashed by storms, battered by waves. We call it the rough country. And old trenchers say it's made us who we are. We do a lot of digging for irrigation, drainage, warfare, the occasional village tournament. Anyone from Rawatai has spent enough time in some kind of hole in the ground to be on a first-name basis with the worms. So, trenchers. Those of us who leave are scramble roots, hardy weeds that can survive just about anywhere. You'd fit right in with the Ranganui's inner circle. It's true that the same things that make Rawatai a difficult place to live have shaped our people and our kingdom. Our coral masons have built living harbors and fortifications along the coast to protect our ships and shelter our cities. For all our shortage of fertile soil, Rawatai's land is abundant in saltpeter, copper, iron, most of the other materials you need to outfit your military with weapons and cannons. We value struggling and striving together. It helped us survive and build one of the most powerful navies in Aora. You're not wrong. Though, my countrymen would point out that we had to expand to find fertile land to feed our people. And the scattered kingdoms we've absorbed in the process have joined one of the most advanced nations in the world. And that's what I like about the Living Lands, where most civic concerns are about as nuanced as a wall of sharpened stakes. Until recently, anyway. I'll tell you what I can. My favorite subject.
Watch out once you get past the palisades. The Stranger Root is apparently hostile to life, as the scholars say. Wait a moment. Oh, Birth, eat my soul. You're the envoy. Sorry, didn't mean to be so informal. They said the Emperor sent one of his best and brightest, and Aethys knows we need the help.
Your reputation precedes you.
I hope your voyage here was smooth as good butter. I know maybe too much about rough seas, what with serving in the galleys. Did you deserve it? Kidding. Sorry to hear, envoy. The Living Lands is dangerous. We should be sticking together. Can't imagine what might have possessed them to do that. I hope it isn't the damn soul plague. I haven't seen anything like that before. It seems to change people. Animals. Feels sometimes like the plague is alive somehow. Sorry for the glib tongue. I've tried to be more proper before. Didn't work. I'm no good at niceties, including abiding by most rules. The law and I aren't exactly the best of friends, no. Although, I think that's Adia's problem. I was mostly just stealing food. If you're born to the wrong social class, Adia makes climbing the ranks rather difficult. Anyway, that's all in the past. Well, I spent 6 years making up for my, if you ask me, justifiable crimes. They had me working in the prison galleys for most of it. Then, a year ago, an Adiran official came to the jails and told us we could serve the Empire for a shortened sentence, or rot. You can guess which I chose. Seems reasonable to me, too. If I get lucky, I might even die out here. All in all, it's a pretty sweet deal. 3 square meals, bed of my own, maybe even a chance to retire as a clerk. Wouldn't mind being bored stupid for a few years. Better than the alternative. But first, even more palisades. He and the Clavager passed through not long ago. I didn't much like it, but they refused an escort. Less competent than he seems. You think with all the time the ambassador spends working, he'd have more done. No, I hear he's about to sneeze away from swallowing the muck he's paddling in. Poor man. Hot-tempered bastard. I think the ambassador's scared of him, but won't do a thing because the Clavager keeps the wheels turning. Good at its job, though. Purportedly. Bad about his confections. Sweet tooth like a hummingbird's. He and the ambassador make a good pair, honestly. The ambassador talks a lot. The Clavager gets the administrative day-to-day done. Honestly, I'm more scared of her than Wodika. At least I understand why the Burned Queen is so pissed. Ludwig runs the Steel Garrote, Wodika's order of paladins. The only thing they care about is their Burned Queen. There's honor among thieves, Envoy. But zealots, they'll raise the world for their god. About Adir, that same hungry empire that is looking to gobble up the living lands. The one that sends people out to maybe die for its ambitions. Kind of you to ask, Envoy. But truth is, not really. Adir's fair and good to the people it thinks deserve compassion. But break its trust, and well, Adir will make you crawl to retrieve the pieces. You can tell it's a place that worships Wodika. Actually, I miss the pies. The crust's all wrong here. Just take a look down the road, and you'll see the last palisades we tried to hold. And the ones before them. We're trying our best to keep the wilds at bay here, Envoy. The Strangleroot is hungry. Every day, it gets closer. Every day, weirder creatures crawl out from its foliage. Be careful if you're headed out there. Anyway... Pargrunin beer is surprisingly terrible. Always trust in a Mauen to know where the best seafood is. Pay attention when the locals tell you something. And watch out for poets. Something's odd about them. Listen, Envoy. I'm here to build defenses against the land. You want geography lessons? Go ask a cartographer. I do know a few things, though. So, ask. No, none. It's all untamed wilderness and feral heathens. I'm joking. Of course there are. There's Fjord, which is run by animancers. Thirdborn, where all the ruffians dwell. And Solus Keep, which has the Pargrunin, who don't like anybody. And happily, too. Sounds like they've got a whole colony of inventors and researchers there. If I want a servant of the Adiran Empire, I might say it sounds fascinating. Groundbreaking, even. I know animancy is considered blasphemous and dangerous, but Fjord supplies most of the produce we eat here in Paradise. They must be doing something right. Miscreants and layabouts and all those great things. The kind of people who can make a life out of impossibly bad situations. Settlement's just as rough and tumble. Wouldn't mind having a drink with the locals, to be honest. They sound like they've got stories. You know what I mean? Heard they're under siege right now, though, by those dream thralls. Wouldn't want to be them, between the desert weather and that. I mean, the Pargrunin dwarves won't talk to anybody. They stay inside Solus Keep and just never come out. Once again, I'm no cartographer. But you know what they say about continents with small acreage? They've got big personalities. Little bit of everything here. Poison swamps, deserts, snow-covered mountains, volcanoes, acid seas. Because why not? A cartographer might be able to tell you more. I hear there's one in town. that it lives up to its name. Wilder place than Adir, which has been stomped into civility. The living land scares our empire, I think. Otherwise, it wouldn't be sending its most expendable folk here. Present company excluded, of course. I think the living lands won't want to be leashed by the empire, though. But that's my opinion. I've been here a while. I don't know. I mean, I know some people in Adir think of godlike as blessed by the gods. What with you lot having a divine resemblance and all. Although, I guess some folk think godlike are cursed. Depends on what sort you are. Frankly, I don't know if I've seen your particular kind before. Still, I think there are stranger things than you in the living lands, envoy. No offense, but more importantly... Ask them then. You're a nice distraction, envoy.
Be forsake!
All you got!
Be forsake!
Come and get me!
Be forsake! Be forsake!
Next one's mine. Take that, you monstrosity! Well done! What happened to that bear?
Oh, poor bastard. One of Ludwine's toy soldiers. I never even learned their name. Not that it would have done us any good. Oh, my savior. Oh, thank the gods. Your arrival couldn't have been more timely. Oh, Ambassador Falchion Hildgard at your service. And you must be our Imperial envoy. Better late than never, I say. The Living Lands is a tad rustic for our tastes, isn't it? Aren't you going to introduce me to your capable companion? Can he be trusted?
I've worn a lot of uniforms in my day, but I'm just a humble scramble root trying to get by and help others do the same. I hope that's enough for anyone, Ambassador.
I'm charmed. I take it you had business with the Claviger? Poor fellow. It was the bear that killed him, of course. This wilderness has been a little too wild of late. I'm no woodsman, but I'm inclined to agree. We heard alarming reports of a blight in the wilderness, and a strange corruption moving toward the city. The changes in the ecosystem are expected, but this one was progressing too rapidly to ignore. We tracked the corruption all the way here, but all we found was that creature gone mad. So, the rumors of plague were true. The situation is more dire than I imagined. We need a plan of action before whatever this is consumes the living lands.
We are here. Come to us. Commune with us. We have waited for you. Come.
What's the matter? Can you hear me? Well, that's encouraging. The Emperor trusts your judgment, and so do I. Whatever you think is best, I'll support it. You know something of our troubles. That much is clear. What would you have us do? You suspect a connection. Interesting. Ardra is said to be filled with essence, soul stuff. And maybe the essence will respond to a godlike's touch. Oh, just be careful. The Emperor would never forgive me if anything happened to you.
Take it slow. We'll be right here.
It is you. Come closer. We feared you were but a dream. We wake from seasons of slumber. We have been waiting. We were drowning in our nightmares for so long. Your hand was a branch. Escape! We reached for you. And you are familiar to us. Our memories are fractured. But you too are alone in your strangeness. Godlike. This term means nothing to us. But why would you belong to another, shackled to their will? Shackled like us to rot and corruption. It spreads and festers and seeps and crawls. Poor bear. Poor us. Poor you. Yes, the air sings with its spores. It is everywhere. We can feel it. We fear it. We can see where it spreads. It is an infection. A foreign body invades. The host fights back. We feel the pain of this intrusion. It overwhelms us. If an animal sickens after a fight, as it howls and sings its agony, what do you do? Nurse it, care for it, grow it like the vines. We were loved once, perhaps. We remember, almost. A thought, like motion in the water. The rot festers. We could suck the poison out, let green things grow in its place, and we could give you the gift of our healing touch. But a favor for a favor. Would you help us in return when we ask it? We offer you the power to heal and be healed, and you would wheedle and bargain? Decide, do you wish this power or not? Go then. We would have given you such a gift, but you scorn us. Face your perils alone, but do not call for us in your need.
You all right? You look like you were in a trance for several minutes.
What happened? What can you recall? Spare no detail.
I say we begin with a couple pints. This day's been stranger than most. And out here, That's saying something.
Inquisitor Ludwig will need to hear of this. I've agreed to share my findings with the Steel Garrote, as long as they do the same. Not that she has any interest in ecology. Ludwig is obsessed with our security. Sees enemies lurking around every corner. The Steel Garrote provide us some much-needed protection, but they answer only to themselves. We have our interest in the living lands, and they have theirs. A mutually beneficial arrangement. Stay out of their way, and they'll return the favor. True. We all want what's best for the Empire. If only everything were that simple. We'll talk more at the embassy. I'll ensure the Paradise militia give you free passage into the city.